So we call the March 2020 Board of Directors meeting for Chandler's Landing Community Association to order. Mr. Vice President, do we have a quorum?
We do, and we have all members present in the office except for Bruce Payton, who is participating via telephone conference.
Okay. Before we move into the second section on ratifying electronic votes, I want to remind everybody that's joining us from home a couple different things actually. This will be our last Facebook Live. We so enjoyed the Zoom experience that Kemper provided to us that we're going to move over that direction. That will also allow us to have it a little bit more in a private version of the internet instead of just completely out there on the public side. So we're making preparations for future meetings to be done that way. Hopefully we'll be able to have people with us in the future. But as of right now, this would be the plan. For anyone that has questions today, we normally have a Q&A session at the beginning, the open forum for our residents, and then we have one at the end. Today, because of this format, we're just going to have one at the end. So if you have questions, please state your name and address as a part of your comment on the comment feed. And then we have Lee over here that's going to be following everything. When we get to the Q&A section, we're going to first start with a few questions from the town hall that had nothing to do with the building. So we'll answer those. And then we'll move into your online comments and questions. All right, let's move on to the ratification of the electronic votes. So we have a vote that was made on February 19th. See where we approved the February 15th Board of Director meeting minutes. Do we?
I'll make a motion that we ratify those.
Yep. Yes, and the March 4th approval of the town hall scheduled meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And I'm going to abstain since I wasn't here for either one.
Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Did we get anything from Bruce?
Bruce, your vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So 6 and then 1 abstention. Okay. This chip. All right. All right. Moving on into the report section. My report is going to be somewhat about. Hold on one second. Okay. Sorry, we have. Okay.
Yeah, that's Jason. Remember, we invited him to give us an update about the Marina.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Great. All right. Town hall was a pretty big success, even in testing new technology and equipment to help us with this time and social distancing and whatnot. So answered 7 pages of questions. Have taken all of those questions, the floor plans that we discussed, renderings, also a chronological timeline from the purchase to the present through the fire, as well as a link to the entire video of the meeting. That's all been posted on Town Square. Moving forward, another thing to talk about is we're going to be, the board, since we don't own or control next door, we're going to be moving from a organization standpoint, we're going to be moving completely off of there. Everything will be Facebook related or on Town Square. If any of the board members interact on there, choose to do that, as I will from time to time, we're going to be doing it on our own accord, but the community as it's established will not be engaging on Nextdoor anymore. Town Square is our source. So all that information from the town hall meeting is on Town Square, so we hope that anybody that didn't get to see it will go and get informed. And that is all I have at this moment. Treasurer report?
Hey, Evan?
Yes, sir.
Evan,
Yes.
could you spend maybe 30 seconds about how somebody might access the town hall meeting on our town square deal, because I'm on it, and I don't really know how to do that.
All right. If you go on to Town Square, under the announcements section, the latest announcement would have been the Town Square update. There was an announcement about bulk trash, I believe, that also went out today. But the latest announcement right before that would have been Town Square, and that has actually been pinned to the top of the announcement section so that it's easier to find.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Scott.
Well, there's always news and then there's better news. The good news is that financial condition of the landing and of the homeowner association are in good shape. We've, obviously it'd be obvious to everybody, even if they never had the fire and the landing be open, we'd actually be in worse position right now than we are, because we have a restaurant that's got a bunch of employees and no operating income. So
Yeah.
at least at this point we have, we don't have any operating income, but we also don't have a large expense of employees on books. So
You bring up a good point. That would have actually been, we would have just gotten ramped back up,
right,
and then we would have had to shut down.
that's exactly right.
So,
This falls in that category. I'd rather be lucky than good. But it doesn't.
Exposing.
yeah, exposure to the homeowners.
That's right.
Homeowners.
Yeah.
So-
So we're financially we're in good shape, giving us lots of options and abilities to come out of this better than we went in.
Okay. All right. And any reports are online on Town Square?
Yeah, that's right. If anybody wants to see details of cash positions or expenses or where we are versus budget, all that detail, I'm not gonna bore everybody by going over those kind of details orally, but they are posted on the website, and you're welcome to look through them all. Also, we have today, we have Jason Breland, who is with Suntex and also the Marina manager, and I've invited him to come and give us an update of just what's going on in the Marina.
Okay. So we'll do that here in just a second.
Okay?
Okay. Okay. T, your management report?
Okay, so, our draft audits have been in for a few weeks. We expect hopefully to have both final audits for CLCA and the landing next week. I would say the following week at the latest, depending on their schedules, if they're working remote. I just received a notice, Riddle and Williams, as long as they've answered the questions that auditors need, they're going remote next week. I know the board's been very busy. I wanted to thank the board for all of the activities that y'all have been involved in. Our mow deadline was extended to the end of the month, so any homeowners that have lots that wish to become a part of that mow program would hopefully have those turned in within the next 2 weeks. In the month of February, we had 2 new residents to our community, and Cheryl works with the Welcome Committee to welcome those families into Chandler's Landing. We're getting ready for a few community projects, and we'll have spring flowers. The pet fair in March was postponed. The Easter egg hunt has been canceled. The garage sale is still on for April 25th. Kids Fish is May 9th, and then we're hoping, if all goes well, to have the pools opened in May. And anything that the community needs, just tell them, just call the office. We're happy to do all we can do to assist, or any other needs in the community. If there's something we can do to help out, somebody just needs something, or groceries dropped off, please let us know. And that's all for me.
Good. Neighbors helping neighbors. I like it. All right. Chip, security?
Not a whole lot to report. Still have some speeding issues, mostly contractors that are coming in the community. We're working on getting them slowed down. We have had some vandalism of the fish feeders on a couple of the ponds. So this is unfortunately, I'm sure, children that are not staying busy with other productive things. We just would ask the parents to mind what your children are doing. We had someone attempt to drive through the closed gate on the north gate, so that exit is closed right now. The gate is bent. We're working on that. We have identified the individual, and we have filed criminal charges for criminal damage to property. So Rockwell PD is handling that. And had they come and just told us that they did it, probably a different position, but did not do that. So we've been able to identify the perpetrator of that. I think that's all that I have for today.
Okay. That, let's, for Jason's time, why don't we go ahead and move into that. Scott?
Jason, why don't you come over, maybe over here, so you'll be on video.
Maybe he doesn't want to be on video.
Oh, you look well dressed.
I think it'll be all right. I'm gonna pass it around. That is copies of. Yes. It's hot off the press.
Great.
So
Good.
the Marina is requesting a zone change in order to proceed with the covered area on the service area. The zoning change also includes portions of the original SUP letter that was denied by the city of Rockwell. Listened to many of your concerns at the meetings and made some edits in hopes of quelling some of those. And I have talked with the city, and this is a first draft, so if there are any other edits that would be like to suggest, we can make those. We just have until April 7th to make those amendments for this document.
Jason, why don't you go over a little bit and tell us things that you've already accomplished over the last couple of years as far as improvements in the marina?
Improvements to the marina, we've completely replaced one dock, began phase 1 of H dock down near the pool. On the list for next year is I dock being completely replaced, F dock being replaced, D dock being completely replaced, the wave insinuator out front, the fixed wall to be repaired in its damaged section, and some new addition repairs to the fuel dock area. Along other items that were completed, or actually the main one in process right now, is repaving the north lot. Having that repaved from the entrance to the marina to the roundabout.
The whole thing?
Yes, everything.
We'll be interested in actually getting, if you wouldn't mind, not today, but if we could get who you're
Yes.
using for that.
It's
so we-
JC Pavement. They're out of Austin.
Okay.
Also, you did complete several $1 million dredging project over the
Yes.
last couple of years.
Yeah, that was just over 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and that was on the south side of the marina. And now we're moving that operation over to Garland to dredge our sister marina over there.
How many marinas do you all have on Lake Great Harbor? 2?
We have 2.
Okay.
We have this marina and Captain's Cove in Garland.
Okay.
In the DFW area, we have a total of 5. We have 3 more on Fort Worth.
So Jason, on this, one suggestion I would have is you may consider setting up some type of meeting with the homeowners that are on Harbor View that back up to the marina. Maybe just would help you get some buy-in from them on
Yes.
this and feedback. You've already
And
done
there
that,
is
so.
one edit that has already been made to document E3 that shows the roof line. That document it shows that the covered area, is over the current roof line of the building now. That has been reduced to level with the current roof line.
Thank you very much, Jason. This is really good. Of course, the things that we are interested in as we get the landing open again, one is the beach. We want to continue having access to the beach and parking.
Of course.
Get that. The other is the restrooms that the tennis players use. We want to continue partnering with you on those restrooms to be available and open
Of course.
when the landing restaurant might be closed. And then the third would be the courtesy slips that are in front that y'all put in last year, continued access to those.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, and on the restrooms, I think we're actually, which we're happy to do, I think we've been taking care of the cleaning on those. These are gonna become a little more critical now because, we anticipate, starting, construction in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, if we can get a demolition permit, and so we're not gonna have any access to our facility at all, so.
Yeah, and
That's gonna be that way for some period of time.
during this time right now with the virus situation, we are cleaning the restrooms every 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
That is the touch surfaces.
Gotcha.
So we're not going in there with a mop every 3 hours,
Right.
but all the touch surfaces are getting disinfected every 3 hours.
Okay, thanks, we appreciate that.
I had a question that came up from our town hall, I believe, one of the questions. We had a resident that was curious on the jetty, it's all kind of broken concrete down there on the north end.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any future plans to repair that? or-
Yes, that is in the plans for 2021, a part of the breakwater repairs out
On the front.
on the front, so make the repairs. The initial plan was to do as many replacements on that outside one as possible. In light of some other items that have happened recently, I've changed gears to have IDOT completely replaced. With the winds that we had just yesterday, we had some more damage to that dock and had to repair.
Okay.
So I changed gears and pulled money away from the idea of that project to getting this dock completely replaced.
But it is on, what we're hearing is
Yes.
2021.
Yeah, it is on the plan for now. If Suntex chooses to allocate those monies elsewhere, that is beyond me.
Is there, and one of the other questions we had on the town hall was, is there any, issue with Chandler's residents fishing down at the marina? I'm not talking about off between the docks, but down at the end where the beach and stuff
Not at
is.
all, like off of that concrete,
Yeah.
that he's talking about that's
Yeah.
crumbled, and we have no issue.
I understand why you have it posted, no fishing.
Yeah, And
Do you
we
mind
have-
saying why? So, because some of our residents don't understand why they can't fish directly from.
Yeah.
So that would be a good.
The idea is to have nobody there, because if I allow the resident, he allows his friend, who allows a friend, he calls in, and it just becomes everybody and their uncle comes into the marina to fish along the shore. So if they are a resident, we do ask, do you have a slip, or do you live here? If you live here, you can welcome to fish down here.
Okay.
It becomes a security issue, because then that code gets passed and now that person is on the dock.
Sure. Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Can we scan these and put them on
Yes.
Town Square?
That, thank you.
I have them in my email. If somebody, I can email them to Scott.
Okay, great, we'll do it that way.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so we'll get all these up on, Town Square for residents to review, once he sends the
Yeah.
email to you.
We'll do that today.
Okay.
This,
Thanks, Jason, we
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
And
Appreciate it.
We look forward to working with you on this.
And
Yes.
Jason, feel free to come back to any of our board meetings, give us an update, especially if things change.
I will.
Thanks. You're welcome. Appreciate it.
Hi, Jason.
And if you can, you can send the contact information to Scott on the paving, we'd appreciate that.
I will include that in my.
Okay, thanks.
Nice to meet you,
Thank
Dave.
you. All right. Moving into old business, street signs. Many of you have asked. It is on the plan for this year to replace all street signs. We are currently working bids on that. We're trying to find the balance between price and also the design of them. We are a unique neighborhood, and so we already have unique signs. They do need to be in alignment with the Department of Transportation, so that's going to be one change. But going to a metal pole of some sort, not a galvanized, we could do it a lot cheaper that way, but we don't feel like that would fit the end feel or design of the neighborhood. So we're working in between the kind of standard and a customized and trying to get quotes on that currently. Also included in that section of funds will be wayfinding signs. For a long time, we have not been able to direct any of our residents or their guests to the various amenities that we have throughout the neighborhood: ponds, parks, tennis courts, big pool, small pool, etc. When we think about the neighborhood in its best form and historically what it was intended to be, it was intended to be a resort-style community on Lake Ray Hubbard, and so we want to move back towards that. And a part of that would be wayfinding signs, as well as a little bit more of a custom design element too. So that is all in process, and we'll update you as we have more on that in coming months. And then we had a tabled vote at the town hall board meeting, so I want to bring that back open.
You want any updates first, or do you want to?
No, yeah, updates.
All right, so yesterday I received what Mershon would consider the final detailed plans for the landing. I'll be reviewing them over the weekend. There may be some, but I think we're probably 99.5% there. They have actually applied for a demolition permit. We talked about this the other night on the town hall. Still waiting for that permit to be issued by the city. I would anticipate sometime, probably towards the end of the month, first part April, after they complete their review. And that's all I have on that. I will make a motion to take the tabled matter off the table and open it back up for discussion and possible vote. So I think what we did on Thursday was to table any action on approaching the bank for, or banks. American National Bank is our bank today. Approach them on inquiring on approval for a loan not to exceed, I think, 2.5 million is where we think we are. Obviously, once this is hard bid, we're certain that the number will hopefully reduce, and so that was the item that we tabled.
All right. So I make a motion that we approve our treasurer and vice president to reach out to American National Bank on our behalf to start investigating the refi process of the current note, as well as the line of credit.
Yeah, and I'd like to just amend your motion slightly to say,
Okay.
reach out to existing lender, American National, and any other interested institutions.
Okay. So amended.
I'd like to second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Bruce, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I do not.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
We're gonna have a second motion, I think, that would make it clear to give Chip authority to move ahead on the demolition. as soon as the permit is in, to move ahead immediately on it. Because I don't think you have to wait for a loan approval to start demolition, is my point.
Is that a separate motion?
Yes.
That'll be a
Yes.
separate motion.
Okay,
Second.
second. Lee's gonna second that one. All right,
So we got,
two different motions. Let's vote on the first one and then come back to the second one.
Right.
All right, so all in favor of the first motion to reach out to American National Bank and any other interested lending institutions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous. All right.
point of discussion on the demolition, so one, and I apologize for not mentioning that, so in conversations with Mershon, right now, you may have seen some articles in the Dallas Morning News and other news outlets, is there's a number of construction companies, I'm not making any promises here, but some companies are not able to work because they do a lot of retail work today and the retailers are not letting them in the building. Mershon actually has some of their subcontractors that are doing work for various school districts, and the school districts will not let them in the buildings, and they will not even let them work on the exterior of the buildings right now while everything's closed. So there may be an opportunity here to capitalize on some of the shutdown, and I'll be working with them, at least on the demolition part. They're pretty confident that when the permit is issued, they can get started post haste. I would say we need to make sure within the board, but also with the staff, that we've got everything out of there or identified that we don't want tossed in the dumpster. So we will have a few asbestos-related mitigation matters, but I think they're minimal, and we'll work with them. They've already started a plan on what we need to do there. So.
If I could too, I spoke with Mike Mershon about a possible program where they can, like I use, is where there's a log, a job log, and photos taken as progress moves along, and make that accessible to our community. I don't know how often we can update that, but he thought that would be a great idea and was willing to work with us to get that accomplished.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, maybe something we can just post on
Town Square.
Town Square, we can work through that, so. And then I think one last thing, I think we're pretty much finished up with plumbing repairs, that have been, that were made as a result of the fires. Most all the wastewater pipes and, the gray water pipes in the kitchen now. I think Dave is pretty much complete with that task, and we've taken into account the piece of the kitchen that we're going to incorporate into the new restroom. So we obviously didn't replumb those floor drains. So that's just wanted to pass that along.
Great. All right, any further discussion or info?
No, I'd just like to comment that the rates are really low at the bank right now. We have to seize this opportunity. I know a lot of residents are nervous about it, but if we don't do it now, then when? You know?
And I think that, this is not a vote to approve borrowing the money. This is a vote to go to the bank and pursue the loan. Once, if and when the bank or banks approve a loan, we'll come back and be formal about approving borrowing the money in the terms of the loan.
Because of the timeline on it, though, it might not wait for another board meeting. It might be a special meeting.
Right, but we'll be transparent about
Yep.
that. Sure.
Yep.
So.
Very good. Okay. So we had a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous again. Alright. And unless we have anything else, I think that moves us into new business.
Okay, I had a meeting with a couple of the members of the board of directors of the CL Tennis. They've been put on notice from some of their members. There's a safety hazard at the top of, Court One where the seating area is. There's some concrete up there, there's a tree, the concrete is all split apart, it's a trip hazard. I've had Chuck look at it and actually, have, to replace that piece of concrete. The contractor, if we do any, it's the result of the size of the trees and the roots of the trees. If we do anything in terms of touching the roots, we're gonna kill the tree. The tree provides a lot of shade there, so we don't wanna do that. They're agreeable to us removing the concrete and then just replacing it with, crushed granite. So I'll work with Chuck to get that. That's something we should be able to do in-house, to do that. The second request I have is, if for anyone that's been around for a period of time, there was previously a shade structure over the seating for Court One, and Pat Adams removed that and said he would put it back up. That didn't happen. They would like approval from the board to replace and put some sort of shade structure up there at their expense, not at our expense. I have expressed to them that we would like to have final approval on the colors, and they're even willing to go so far as to say we can pick the colors. Not sure if we want to get into that part of it. So that's one motion I'd like to make, that we, well, I can just do it all in one motion. And then the third item is the grass area. It's kind of that triangle behind the concrete area up to the sidewalk, which they typically use for grilling, and there's been golf carts parked on there. It's not in real great shape. They would like to take over that area, take responsibility for it, and at their expense, replace that with crushed granite, so it's more usable.
Inside the concrete.
Inside the sidewalk area, yeah, so, and then they're going to also replace some of the signage down there with they have that board up there, so they're gonna replace that.
A question about the structure. They'll provide some kind of rendering?
Yeah, they'll get us all.
Does that need to go through the EC, or can we do that?
Um,
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, it probably should go to the EC, I mean, we should.
Curious.
Maybe the EC, but
But
also
it's owners of the
final
property,
say.
we actually own it.
Right.
So the final approval will come down.
Yeah.
But I don't wanna make it overly burdensome to them. I don't
Sure.
think Jeff, I don't wanna speak for Jeff, I don't know that the EC was
Have an
gonna have
issue
an
with
issue
it.
with it, and
That's fine.
just bypass that. They've been good.
Sure, I was hoping they wouldn't have to, so
Yeah.
that we can just fast track it and let them.
Yeah, it's our property, so,
I think the main thing is that whatever gets put in there from the ground side of things to the sunshade structure, say that 3 times fast, that it's going to be cohesive with the updates that we're doing on the building itself as well.
Well, that's why I was hoping we'd have a rendering
Yeah.
or something.
yeah, so, and then I think, so I'd like to make a motion that we authorize them to install shade structure with the caveat that it needs to meet current wind loads for the city of Rockwall and be properly permitted. And then also authorize them to make whatever modifications to the grass area between the sidewalks back there. I think we all know the area.
Okay. All right.
Just combine that up and present us with the renderings and their color choices for final approval.
Okay.
What about the tree?
Tree
And
stays, yeah, we'll take
Sure,
care of that.
that work is on our side, yeah. All right, so you made that motion, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We got Jose on the second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, unanimous.
I want to wait till after we voted on it, bring up a very small point. We were talking to them, remind them that their contract with 2 reserve spots was for 1 year. They're now down to 1.
Got it.
So please remove the other one that says reserve for test player of the year. They had a tie vote last year,
Right.
and that's how they ended up with 2.
Right.
But the contract clearly says they get that for 1 year.
Okay,
And we're past that 1 year.
noted. So noted. All Okay. And that, unless anybody has anything else, takes us in.
I actually do.
Okay.
Mike Tawny, a very dear neighbor, actually came up with a wonderful idea that he wanted me to present to the board. He said, I have an idea, what if I set up a couple boxes down at the landing under the drive-up awning where people could come and get either non-perishable food and cleaners, toiletries for free, kind of like take what you need, leave what you don't. Perhaps other neighbors would feel good about contributing too. Thoughts suggested here, it'd be covered and easily accessible for people to drive down. Now, I wanted to bring this up because I know there's probably some risks involved here, you know, people touching things and putting them in the box, animals, critters getting into the box. However, this brings me to a new point that we really need to move forward with Chandler's Cares. The office is closed at 5 o'clock. They're not here on the weekends. I would like approval to look into a hotline, so to speak, an answering service, that one of us would be on call, that guests could anonymously call in and say, I'm in need of toilet paper. I'm stuck at the house. I need something. It beeps to one of us or goes to one of us, and we take care of the problem. And we can reach out to other neighbors, but that way it stays anonymous. It's not a burden on the office up here. I'd like just approval right now to look into the service, see what the cost would be. It would be the Chandler's helpline, so security would be involved.
We could actually have them take the calls. They're there 24/7.
Security.
I just would like it more anonymous, the
They
security.
don't have to get, I mean, we'll put a separate line in. We could put a separate line in, or they can just call and say, they're just gonna write that. I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to,
Maybe even if they just got their name and phone number, and then whoever was on call for taking the calls, they could forward that information over to us, and then we would call that person back. You know, it just,
I'm just not sure if it falls in their job description. I mean, I'm talking about a mom stuck at home with a sick child that needs milk, you know, that doesn't wanna reach out to the community and put her name out there, but really needs help.
Okay.
I wanna move this forward. I wanna take care of our seniors in here. I want our seniors to have a place to go to, that they're not burdening the security office.
well, and they do, just so you know, they do that over there now. They have a list of seniors that they,
Do they check on them, do like a welfare check?
yep, they check on them. They, have been known to go to the store. I'm just letting you know that. There's a lot of things that Craig and Kristen in particular have a list of seniors that they check on regularly. They call them, do you need anything? So in part of, from a Chandler's Care standpoint, there's a number of things they're doing.
So can we get this out so more people know about it?
Yeah, so I think what's coming together here is we can figure out the method on the back end, but there is a need, and we formed Chandler's Cares, the concept of it, you know, within this last year. This is a perfect time to utilize it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's figure out the best way, and then we can put a document together that says exactly how that will operate.
Okay.
We'll publish that via the e-blast and on Town Square.
Okay.
That way everyone knows, and it sounds like it's going to be somewhat of a cohesive effort between security and a group of volunteers, whether it's board members or specific volunteers that want to work for the Chandler's Cares Committee. That's an open invite to all of you. Any of you that want to give back, that would be a great way of doing that as well.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll figure out the Mike Tonic aspect.
They've been making welfare checks on, they have a couple of seniors that they check on pretty much. I know one person they check on every day,
Okay.
as an
Yeah,
example.
Kristen even cooks for them.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, we have really great security that do a lot of things that no one ever sees, and we should thank them for that, and be more thankful to them as we see them around the community.
Okay.
Now, I've heard of these little pantries that you like basically what is the core of Mike's idea.
Right.
And I know with the upcoming demolition and everything at the landing, it doesn't make, you know, it'd be hard, you know. But maybe the little gazebo up here, if we got maybe like a den that locks closed, you know, the clear ones you get at Target or whatever.
Yeah, big clear
Yeah,
ones.
maybe a couple tubs over there, and then people could donate, and then, cause that might make it a better
Well,
spot
the other
for it.
thing, we could actually go and get like you know, they're like you put on your patio.
Like
It's
a dock
just
box?
Like a dock
Yeah.
box type thing, so it's got a lid on it,
Right,
it's
exactly.
weather tight, that.
You can have it,
They're not-
if it's big
it's not
enough, you
big
can have it
space.
organized into the different types of things.
Well, then you know, we don't need to reinvent this wheel.
Right.
Yeah.
We went through this in the late seventies, early eighties with Helping Hands. And, the thing I love about your suggestion, Chip, is using existing staff makes it a more, you know, cause the enthusiasm might wane until the next crisis comes along. If you use existing tracks today, it's really easy to gear it all back up again, and then it tapers off. But as somebody who deals with cleaning products, I can tell you it's not a good idea to leave the things like that sitting out with different temperature variations, everything like that.
I think it's a great idea, we just,
Let's hash out
let's
the
just hash it out the details and,
Yeah.
but just because I think a lot of you may not have known is that there's a daily effort over there with Kristen and Craig.
And I did not know that,
Yeah,
because
so-
we've been trying to get this started for
Yeah.
a while now,
Cool.
so I wanna make sure
Well,
that
this
all
is-
of our residents know about it.
Yeah, well, this is a good start to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so more information on that forthcoming on Town Square and via e-blast.
Okay.
Okay.
And we'll respond back to Mike.
Yeah, and so it is Saturday.
Great idea,
Yeah, it's Saturday, maybe by middle, at the latest, middle to end of next week, we can have it all fleshed out, published, and then we'll have all the new program and protocol. set.
That's great.
Okay, great, thank you for bringing that up. Now, do we have any other questions? Let's move into the owner visitor forum. As a recap, we're gonna start with any questions from town hall that were not directly related to the building. And then we'll go into any comments or questions that you have submitted online through the comments section on Facebook Live.
The first question was from Edward Ham at 104 Weatherly Circle. Can you consider an option for which residents can opt out from assessment dollars going towards to not go towards the lake?
No, we are not able to do that. In the same way that we can't opt out for anybody that doesn't wanna take part in the ponds, or doesn't wanna take part in the parks, or doesn't wanna take part in the tennis courts. Landscaping, we that's a Pandora's box that it's not how we're set up or why our core purpose, so.
The next question is also from Mr. Ham at 104 Weatherly Circle. Can you address the beaver problems at the Sovereign and Mallard Ponds? There are at least two I've seen them together.
the beaver, problem is an ongoing issue. We work with the ponds committee on that, and we've had, several times last year where we actually have the guy come in and catch the beavers, trap them and relocate them. And so that's a continuing issue, it'll always be an issue, so.
Bruce Robinson of 135 Freedom Court asked this question, we've answered it. Would it be possible to get our street signs redone?
Yep.
And-
Yes.
yeah,
Street
we'll
sign
work on
update
it.
today.
Okay, the next question, from Kathy Hovey of 110 Clipper Court. Considering COVID-19's devastating impact to our residents' jobs and retirement, will the board consider reducing or freezing monthly HOA dues through 2021?
We are not legally able to do that. Yep.
Which we answered
Yep.
the other evening.
For several reasons.
Right.
Yep.
Also, Mike Tonic also brought that
Yep.
idea. of
Not legally able to do it.
Yeah. Also from Mike Tonic, 229 Freedom Court, has the board approached its creditors and asked them to renegotiate terms due to this crisis? More corporations are doing this with their creditors, and many of them are successful in reducing costs temporarily.
That's what we're doing with
That's
the
what
banks
we're
right
doing.
It's
now.
actually what we're
In
doing.
effect, what we're doing.
Yeah, we are doing that.
Not for that reason, but as a part of the process.
The last question is also from Mike Tonic. He says, obviously CLCA has employees, have they been asked to reduce salary or hours by 20%? Again, this is a temporary situation, we have to pitch in to sacrifice to get through this crisis.
Yeah, so this neighborhood runs 24/7, and we need every staff member that we have because the neighborhood needs it. So no, we are not able to do that.
Well, frankly, they're at capacity as it is.
Exactly.
And there are any number of us that are putting in an extra 10 to 20 hours or more a week to supplement the staff, we're happy to do it. But we're not in a position today to ask employees to cut back time or finances.
And probably more importantly, the treasurer, that would be wholly inappropriate. We're not in a situation where it would make any difference at all, except give less services.
Right.
And would not really save us any money. It might actually, in the long run, cost us.
money, and it will definitely cost on any kind of residential living experience.
That's right.
To your point on the 10 to 20 hours a week that we all are shouldering right now, I would also say, just for perspective, that the long range plan is actually to bring more staff on to make sure that we're taking care and taking the weight off of your volunteer board members. This really should be a 10-hour-a-month thing, and that's still a lot for most HOAs. In fact, that's way overkill for most HOAs. The 10 to 20 hours a week is quite a lot, and it basically proves that there is a need for more staff. So as budget allows, then that would be a plan to be able to make this, for the long run, for future board members, it'll be something that is more, easy to do work while you're volunteering a lot of time already.
Well, I think also part of Kemper's, what they're helping with tremendously is taking pressure off of our staff here in the office that really, frankly, it shouldn't be their job to try to run.
Yeah, wasn't their
So-
responsibility to do that. Shouldn't have been.
Right.
Thank you. All right. That moves us to our online comments and questions.
All right. And I'm sorry I didn't get any addresses.
Okay.
But Ori Harris would like to know if they don't have a Town Square account, do they get the information from the office?
Town Square is where it's all coming from. If there's not, if there's not a Town Square,
So say I'm not on Town Square, what do I do?
you
Contact the office.
Yeah, you contact the office, and they'll help you walk through how to get on.
Kirsten Maxey says, can the Chandler's residents, maybe walking or in the area, can they use those tennis restrooms or the Marina restrooms?
Yes.
Yes.
And she said, where is the code? Someone said it might be at the pool. Is it still at the pool?
Okay.
Or do they need to contact the office?
I don't know, but let's not say any code
No,
on
we're not,
Facebook
yeah.
Live.
Call the office.
Cool.
You can contact the Marina office.
But we actually have it up here.
Yeah.
And they do
Oh,
change it
yeah,
about
change.
every couple of months. It
Right.
does get changed routinely.
Yeah, and if it's posted at the pool, it might not be the right code, because someone said it was posted
Right.
last summer, so it's
Yeah.
probably changed since then.
Okay.
Stacy Dyer would like to know, will there be guest slips for the landing?
So this was a question from the other night as well,
And Jason answered that.
and Jason answered it.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah, the slips are available
Right.
at the end, the ones that are right down,
Yeah.
they're available for guests to use.
And
Guests of the landing, not guests of homeowners,
But the
right?
big thing is no overnight parking.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
It is strictly a temporary thing. You can't come in to store a boat there.
How many are down there, Scott?
There's room for a total of 8 boats.
Oh, okay. All right.
and also if we have, Stacy Dyer would like to know if we have seniors, how would they get on the list for help? And I think really it's been more of a, we're aware of who it is, or it's self-reporting, or, just things that happen and we found out, right?
Yeah,
Well, I think then that we can
That's part of
register
what-
at the
Right.
security
Yeah.
office,
Right.
you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
So, okay, the last question that we've gotten in is from Melissa Short, and she'd like to know, will there be another community beach area cleanup opportunity? Maybe as the weather warms?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, the water's really high. We were up last night. It
We
was-
have so many great volunteers that
Yeah.
go down and clean that
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
But maybe
It's
have an
amazing.
organized thing as things
Yeah.
get warm.
I would say somewhere in April, along the lines of what's good for COVID-19 health related side things.
that would be a good opportunity. Also, the shorelines of our ponds would be a good opportunity.
Yes,
Our
let's
park
not forget.
would be a good opportunity
Yeah.
for folks for
Just, and you need to get out of the
Yeah,
house.
and then I'll even cap that off and say, and if you're taking your dog, clean up after them.
Right,
And if you see
Please.
trash,
pick the trash
pick the
up.
trash
So,
up. Let's
and
all
a
work
really big,
together.
a really big shout out to Richard Malik, and I think, Ralph is still doing it. So Richard every day walks the ring and picks up, all of the stuff our residents throw out of their car windows, cigarette butts, trash, Coke bottles, cans. He fills up, at least a plastic shopping bag, at least one bag, sometimes 2 bags a day on
He
his
does that
lawn.
all
Every
day.
day.
Every
I wanna
day.
Thank you,
shout out
Richard.
Jan does it.
Thank you, Richard.
Good,
Thank you.
Jan. Yes, thank you.
So there's 3 or 4 people that do that, and
Ginny
the
Hipper
message
too.
Jenny does, the message is, don't throw your stuff out the car window.
You have people that are picking up after you. You can
Yes.
clean up after yourself. We thank you for adhering to the message.
But the intent here is to get the shout out for the
Yes,
volunteers that are
absolutely.
doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a lot of great people here. It's a great community. No other
That's it.
comments or questions? Okay. Well, if anybody doesn't have anything else,
Motion to adjourn.
all right.
I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.